Not to say I told you so, but I did predict that this would happen. Look, these things happen rarely. Let me just have my little claps, thank you so much. Bag charms are a big thing, right? This controversial 2000s bag trend that up until a few months ago, we were looking back and like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine having like a fluff ball dangling from my bag and whatever else, like the bag is cute without it, all of this business. Well, it's time to turn those opinions back around. This trend is picking up in steam very fast. We've seen it on the runway. There is a TikTok trend about this that like is in the millions of views. This bag trend that had us in its grips in the spring summer of 2017 with the Fendi fur monsters and other pom-pom like things were dangling off the sides of bags, and how we're seeing that done now in 2024 and how it's sort of been reinterpreted, right? It's maybe not Fendi fur ball, though if you want to, you can. I mean, not that I don't need to give you permission to do whatever you want, okay? But we're seeing how people are sort of reinterpreting this trend now. Guys, if you are new here, my name is Cassie and I'm a self-diagnosed luxury addict. I put out videos on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, so if you like luxury fashion, then you're probably going to love it here. So head down there, subscribe, turn on the bell, become a member of our luxury addicted family. When we're going to rehab. Never. I also have some recommendations for the different ways that people are doing this, and if it's things in particular, links will be below on the shopping button on the screen. This part of my hair is really annoying me, so just ignore it. The bag charms can be very divisive. You either absolutely love it and you're like, I love how much personality it gives and I can dress up my bag and I can give it a different look, right? Or you've got the people of the school of thought that's like, you're doing too much. The bag is the bag and the bag is nice to begin with and you don't need to add bells and whistles to it, okay? Up until 2019, I was bag charming it. I was all of the fluff balls and everything. And then I looked back and I was like, oh my gosh, how could I have ever done that? But isn't that fashion trends in general, right? But anyway, I do like the ways that we are seeing it done in 2024 because there's lots of different avenues that people are taking this. We saw this trend rear its little head during some runway shows for spring summer 2024. The two biggest being one brand that I don't really talk about, Balenciaga, great, okay, now we can move on. And then the other way was Miu Miu. Miu Miu was having the models carry these bags that were filled to the brim. It was all of these, you know, cords and keys and hair clips and whatever else adorning the straps of the bag and hanging off the side, and you know, it was a little bit chaotic. It was almost a laugh in the face to the sort of clean girl aesthetic, very put together, very quiet luxury vibe that we've seen elsewhere, that this was almost like, okay, complete opposite. What would that girl never do? Oh my gosh, she would never go out with a messy bag. Let's give them the messy bag. Very much somebody that's busy, somebody that's rushing around, doesn't have time, okay, to organise things. They're just like, listen, I've got to go where I'm going and I'm getting everything in there. It's almost like the luxurification of messiness. There you go. But I think one big reason that we're seeing this, and I've spoken about this before, but it all sort of makes sense, is this level of people wanting personalisation, people wanting customisation to make their bag stand out from the rest. Especially when a lot of people have luxury bags or fakes or whatever it is. People want a way to make theirs stand out. There's that level. There's also, like, I don't know, just throwing it out there, a lot of bag designs recently have been boring and maybe they need a little bit of that, you know, to spark a bit of life and fun into them. Now, in tandem with what we're seeing on the runway, you remember I talked about that TikTok trend. It's basically called Jane Birkin-fying your bags. So, obviously, namesake of the Birkin, Jane wasn't out here wearing the bag all prim and proper. No, she wasn't. Everything was stuffed in there, and I think people are sort of taking inspiration from that and, you know, Jane Birkin-fying their own bags with tidbits and keychains and silks and whatever. And people are doing this not only to Birkins, which is obviously the bag that she did it with, but to whatever bags they have. There's no right or wrong way of doing this because obviously it's all very personal, this sort of zhuzhing up of the bag, right? So it's interesting to see how people are interpreting it, what people are putting on their bags, and there's a lot of fun ways that people are doing it, and maybe one of them might tickle your fancy, so let me break them down for you. The beauty to this, though, is that there is no rhyme or reason, there is no right and wrong, and so however you wish to do it, go off. So the first way is also the cheapest way. This is random tidbits, souvenirs, sentimental thing. A ribbon from, I don't know, something you bought, or a key ring from a trip, or an I Heart New York something or other, or a hair clip clipped on the side of the strap for easy access, or a little Bath and Body Works hand sanitizer in its little coat. It is a little coat, it's like its little jacket, isn't it? Its little coat bumbling against the side of the bag. It's a little pasta necklace that your child made for you at school, and you're like, whilst I would never wear it on my neck, it can hang off the side of my bag. You know, so there's all of these little friendship bracelets, whatever it is. People are using those sorts of things and wrapping them around the handles, or having them sort of, you know, like drape off, or however one does the adornment, people are doing it. But I also love these like personalised charms that people are adding, and I came across, shout out to Lydia if you're watching, she told me about this account called Logan Real on Instagram, and if you have a pet, I'm also sure that he could do it for a person, but if you have a pet, you can basically have him hand paint the pet's face and have their name stamped below on a little sort of clochette looking leather charm that you can have on your bags. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm thinking about getting one done for Jelly. It's a fun little way of doing it. Obviously it's very personalised, it's something true to you, and you can have a look and be like, oh, she's with me even though she's at home living her best life, kind of thing. The next way that we're seeing it is strap-to-strap chains, and I think I really like this way. This is basically those key rings that are usually like meant for wallets or whatever. Like I think it's usually quite prevalent in like men's accessories, but they have two, you know, little claws of sorts so that you can hook onto both handles and they drape across the front of the bag. I don't know why I like this. I think it looks kind of, it's like the bag has a necklace. Even though this trend is all about beautifying the mess, I like how put together this looks because it's like symmetrical. I saw a fabulous reel, I'll insert it, of somebody doing this with their Pharrell P9 Speedy bag, and it was a Pharrell designed men's Louis Vuitton keychain that she's looped between both handles, and I thought that on the bag was just fabulous. Taking this bag to another level, and I really enjoyed it. Louis Vuitton does have a lot of these sort of key rings and keychains on their website. Have a look in men's if you're not seeing anything in the women's section. The next option are vintage options and pre-loved, right? Like old key rings, keychains, designer, non-designer, whatever. There's lots of fun limited edition options that, you know, have been and gone or whatever, and now you're like, oh my gosh, I love the bubble heart of this, or, you know, whatever it is. That again adds a level of uniqueness, differentiation, something fun and fabulous that, you know, isn't that widely found. I'm sure if you give a scroll through eBay, it'll be absolutely teeming with them. There's a huge acrylic LV key ring that I love, that I'm like, oh my gosh, just that bouncing off the side of a bag would just be wonderful, but feel free to take that idea and run with it. The next section I've just put under leathers, and we see this done a lot with Hermes bags, quota bags, non-quota bags, where you've got the matching Hermes Rodeo, which is the horse, the Pegasus, which is the horse with the wings, and the Iran sandal, those sorts of little leather bag charms that sort of, I really was against these, and I've since grown to appreciate them, but I do like the fact that the leather on a leather bag does give a sort of sense of cohesiveness and continuation. Am I going too deep about this? Am I going too like philosophical about what is essentially a bag trend that you can literally sweep whatever's on your windowsill and put it on the side of a bag and you're nailing the trend? So maybe, but I do like that. I like this not only on Hermes bags, I like the mixing of charms from different brands and stuff like that, because there are no rules, and it's nice to have a little bit of something different, to be like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't think to put that, you know, Prada little charm on the Gucci bag, but actually it really works, and I like how it's different or whatever. All of these things can be played about with, but I do like the continuation of, if you have a leather bag, doing a leather charm, because although, once again, it's the messiness, it does still seem to have a cohesive story. Thom Browne does a very cute little lobster that I think is absolutely adorable. And Loewe does these, I love that people are really honing in on the animals. They are very cute. The Loewe does these like leather charms with felt animals. And the animals are just oh my god, I can't. I think if I saw one in person I would cry. I'm a Pisces, don't even. It's just like these tiny little fluffy little felt characters. And if you get one, you have to name it. And if you get one and you name it, please come back and tell me exactly what it was. Because I'm rooting for you and, you know, like Felix the koala or something. The next way is extra hardware. So, for example, the chrome heart septum piercing. I love that. I almost feel like I now can't copy that because it's very obviously copied, but I absolutely love it when people do that with the 1 cross, or Chrome Hearts also does like the 3 cross one. It looks insanely badass. It just looks cool. Like, oh my god, stop. Wow. Even better on like a box leather Birkin Kelly. Anyway, so I like that. I also like when people put the lock of, I know it's very Birkin specific or Kelly specific, but I like when they put the lock on the, I think I'm actually going to do that, and put the lock on here so it sort of dangles. But other ways to do this, again, Loewe's got quite a good sort of like key ring selection. They do the pebble, which is like, it's a very like, it's just a smooth little circle with the Loewe anagram on it. They do that, which I think would be a nice, especially in like a silver, if it matches the hardware of the bag, or it doesn't have to match. But I do love it when it just adds an extra oomph of hardware and like edginess. They also have a version of that that opens up like a locket for small things. And final way I've seen this being done is mini bags on bags. As the resident expert in TBE, tiny bag energy, this is something that I can wholeheartedly get behind, because whilst you may not be able to downsize your life into 1 TBE, this trend does allow you to engage in TBE whilst also engaging in a more practical sized bag. I've seen people doing it with that like little star that came on some of the Chanel bags, putting that on other bags. I have my little Fendi nano baguettes that I love, and all of them have this clasp at the back so that you can put it on a belt hoop. That's what I like to do a lot. Or on the side of, this is just the closest one to me. I know that we're doing a lot of Birkins and Kellys, but you get the vibe, right? Stop! You know, I have my little green one. I think that would go perfectly. Oh, I'm going to do that. Oh, I love, you see? So you can just put these on the side of anything. Other baguettes, you can do the matchy-matchy with the brands, or you don't have to like that. I thought looked sick. Super fun to look at. You can have the things that you want easy access to, like, you can just put like, oh, all my little makeups are going to go in this and it's going to go on the side, or, you know, whatever else. Hay fever tablets, your keys, whatever it is. I need to do that more. Like, this is partly why I like this job, because it inspires me to, you know, sort of look into things a bit more and be like, oh my gosh, I also would like to engage in such tomfoolery in such a fun little frivolous way, you know? Anyway, however you wish to participate in this trend, if you do wish to, is up to you, right? That's the best thing about it. There is no right or wrong way. It's all about your personal interpretation. It's all about your personal menagerie of bag charms. But anyway, there you go. Let me know what you think of this trend, and also what you think of some of my suggestions. I'm going to leave a link to another video over here in case you haven't already seen it. Have an amazing morning, afternoon or evening wherever you are. And in the words of my father,
if you've enjoyed it, tell your friends. If you haven't, keep your mouth shut.
I'll see you in my next video. Mwah. Bye guys.